The 7 dimensions to be included in this material, but eventually we found that we have included too many things really. So we decided not to leave it in. In any case, 7 dimensions is actually the title of our another program. Right? We use that more for cross-department communication and conflict resolution. So, let's go through very quickly. The 7 things is when you are in a conflict, when you are in an argument, when you want to see whether there is common ground and resolve arguments better. There are 7 angles to look at things. So the first one is, do you have what is called is there a common goal? Is this something that both of you, although you may be in disagreement, but ultimately do you have something in common that you want to achieve? Right? So it can be you are doing on a project, you have one way of approaching, the other guy has got a different way of approaching, but ultimately, although your methods are different, but the goal is to deliver the project in the right way. So that's some kind of common goal. With a common goal, it's easier for us to resolve any problems. Right? So that's a part of a common goal. Now, with a common goal, what happens is that the next thing is, if you have a goal, the next thing is to look for information. Right? So we are looking at if you think your way is right, why? What makes you think you are right? And I can also share my information on my way, why I think I'm right. What are other information that we need to collect? What are other information that we know? What are the other information that we do not know but we would like to know? Or anything that we can make an assumption, right? So these are all part of information. The more information that you are able to share with each other, the easier it is to resolve the issue. Right? What we fear is that, and we'll talk about trust this afternoon. If you don't trust each other, usually people tend to hide information, right? And when people hide information, it's harder to come to any kind of agreement. Right? So the more you share information, and the basis is if you trust each other, you can actually share more information, and the more information you share, the more likely you can look for alternatives, you can look for common ground, you can resolve issues. Right? So that's the information. Third is look for positives. Many times when we have conflicts, and especially for relevant to this topic on multi-generation motivation, when we look at different generations, sometimes we tend to look too much on their negative. Right? So if you want to resolve issues, if you want to work with one another, sometimes it's easier to look at their positives first. So what are the strengths of the other person? Even though you don't agree with their point of view, what are some of their points that you find is something you agree? Or what are some of their key points that you find is something that is usable, is good, is positive? Right? Or in the past, has this person helped you before? Do you give your acknowledgement, your thanks, your gratitude to the person for helping you in the past? So anything that's positive about the situation, about the other person, this is where we are looking at. So look at the positive first, and then we look for you can address the concerns. Concerns are the negatives, but we use a slightly different word rather than concerns, rather than negatives. Right. Negative is like it's a bad point, so we want to condemn it. Concern is a negative point, but it's something that we want to resolve it. Both are negative. One type of negative is we want to get rid of it. The other type of negative is we want to resolve it. So when you're looking at conflict resolution or disagreement in different viewpoints, what we want to do is to address what are some of the concerns. You have a certain point that I really don't agree, and we just like to talk about it and see how we can actually resolve the whole issue. So it's a concern that both parties would like to address. Right? And when we talk about the different dimensions, usually there are no fixed sequence, but what we like to do is to say that we'll look at the positive first before we look at any negative. Why? Because sometimes if we look into the negative too much, it's very difficult to look back at the positive. Okay, so we'll address the negative after we have seen the positive. So as we said, the purpose of the negative is not to say, hey, it's a negative. We would like to resolve the issue. So explore alternatives. You got a positive, you got something of concern, so let's look at how we can resolve the issue. We can explore alternatives, we can be creative about it, we can think out of the box and look into what other alternative ways we can address the whole issue. Okay, so that's why alternative. Now, 1 to 5 dimensions are very rational, right? If you are familiar with how the brain works, this is what we call left brain thinking, very sequential, very rational, step by step. The problem is, a lot of our decisions, in fact, all of our decisions are made with some rational part and some emotional part. Right? So if there's no emotional commitment, usually people are not going to be very committed. So the next thing to do is validate the emotions, right? Do you feel confident? Are you committed enough? Do you have further concerns? Anything that's bothering you? So something that's intuitive, something that is just emotional thing. How do you feel that sort of thing? So we want people to if you want to resolve anything, we want people to feel it's okay, it's something that they believe in, they have confidence in, and then we can move forward. Right, so number 6 is to look into the emotional part as well. So it's similar to what we did in global listening. The first thing that we ask is, when the person is saying whatever, how does the person feel? Okay. And for this emotions, it can be something that you observe. So you have been talking about resolving some conflict, and then you observe the other person. You can either feel that the person looks confident, looks optimistic, so that's an emotion. Or you can feel that the person seems to be still a bit hesitant, not very committed, right? Still have some concerns, but it's not saying out. So over here, you can also give a feedback to the other person and say that, it seems like up to this point, you still have something that is bothering you, right? Can I know what is it? So this leeway to address those emotional issues as well. Right. And the last one is 1 to 6 is just discussion. If you really want to resolve the conflict, number 7 will be okay. Next steps. What are we going to do next? Is there anything that you need to do first? Is there anything I need to do first? Is there any point of time that we should meet up again and discuss how to move forward? Do we need to do any reviews in interim? Whatever. So because the thing about conflict resolution is it's not just about resolving the conflict. Usually there is still work that needs to be done, and sometimes work that needs to be done together. Right, so after 1 to 6, when everything is okay, we're all good. So what do we want to do next? How do we move forward together? So this is what we, in a nutshell, the shortened version of 7 minutes.